If you aren't using Instagram for all things comics, you are missing out. In this video, we're going to talk about everything Instagram has to offer the comic book community, including how to buy, sell, and share your prized collection on Instagram. If you've never used Instagram before, by the end of this video, you will have a complete blueprint of how it works. And if you use Instagram all the time, you still might pick up a few helpful tips. Stay tuned.
Bry's Comics.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Bry's Comics. This channel is all about comic book investment and speculation with tips and tricks on how to have this hobby fund itself. And using Instagram for all things comics is a huge asset for having this hobby fund itself. And some of you watching this that don't use Instagram are probably thinking, oh great, just another app, another thing giving me notifications on my phone, vying for my attention. And I get it. It can be totally overwhelming and unattractive, but trust me when I tell you that it is totally worth it. The vibe on Instagram in the comic community is super positive and unlike anything else I've found in the comic book community. I've tried Facebook and I'm on Facebook, but I find that the community over there is overwhelmingly negative, and I just choose to avoid it for that reason. I think it has something to do with the algorithm on Facebook rewards negativity because it keeps you engaged and on their site longer so that they sell more ads and make more money. But what doesn't make sense about that is Instagram's owned by Facebook as well. So why does the algorithm work so differently? And it obviously does work differently. Facebook and Instagram are completely different in terms of the vibe going on. So I don't know what it is or why, but Instagram has a great vibe. And at the very least, you owe it to yourself to try it, because I would be very surprised if you're a comic book lover and you go and check out the comic community on Instagram and decide it's not for you. It's that good. So do yourself a favor and give it a chance. A very important point to note out the gate is that Instagram is not primarily a selling platform. It's primarily a social media platform. So you will be a lot more successful if you sell comics on Instagram socially. As long as you're an honest person and sell comic books with integrity, the social aspect of selling comics on Instagram will only enhance your sales. If you're somewhat of a shady person or you kind of want to oversell books, then you won't do well, and frankly, you're a piece of garbage. All right, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is post some content. Because we're going to go grab some followers in the next steps, and you want to have some kind of content on your page so that you don't look like a complete weirdo. Just have people know that you're a real person, that you like comic books. So take some pictures of your favorite books, take some pictures of your favorite books with you in it. Pictures with you in the picture and not just the comic books itself tend to do a lot better, again, because it's a social media platform and people socialize with people. You totally can have just comic books in the image, but they usually do a little bit better when there's somewhat of a personal component to it. Also, when posting content and taking pictures, use a square image, a 1x1 image for posting content, because Instagram is an app that is only available in the vertical position of the phone, and so it crops images to a square. And when you take pictures on your phone, it's elongated, and so when it posts it to a square, it's going to cut off the top and bottom. This is incredibly important with comic books because you don't want the top and bottom cut off. I see posts all the time with CGC books where the grade's missing. How am I going to buy a book when I can't even see the grade? So use the square feature in your photo, in your camera app on your phone, and post those. The next thing you're going to want to do is add some hashtags, and that takes us to our next point, which is the proper use of hashtags. Hashtags are what Instagram uses to know who it should show your post to, and it's really important when it comes to growth. Instagram currently allows you to use up to 30 hashtags, and you should use as close to 30 as you can. And so the way I do this is you have unique hashtags for every single post, and then you have different sets of hashtag groups that you can apply to different posts. So for example, let's say I was posting a picture of me with Amazing Spider-Man 300. I would start by posting all of the things that are unique to that post and just type in the caption, hashtag Amazing Spider-Man, hashtag Amazing Spider-Man 300, hashtag ASM 300, hashtag Stan Lee, hashtag Todd McFarlane, hashtag Todd McFarlane art. and so on until you're kind of out of ideas. Usually you can get about 10 or 15 just off the top with the comic book and what's significant about it. And then go and add some of your saved lists of hashtags. So for this one, it's a Bronze Age book. So I have a whole list of tags for Bronze Age books, and I have it saved in a note, and you can copy and paste that into your post. So for Bronze Age, it might be hashtag Bronze Age Comics, hashtag Bronze Age Comics for sale if you're selling it, hashtag Bronze Age, hashtag IG Comic Community, hashtag IG Comic Fam. And keep just very generic tags that are associated with that. That way you can add them to a bunch of different posts and you don't have to do it every single time. Another quick tip for this as a trick, if you're using the iPhone, if you go to settings and search keyboard, and then click on keyboard, and then there's a section there for text replacement. Hit text replacement, and then up in the corner you can hit plus. And so say you post a lot of modern age comics. You can save your whole list of tags here by typing in all your hashtags. Say, for example, hashtag modern comics, hashtag modern comic books. So that's the phrase. And then the shortcut, you give it a shortcut like modern and the number 1. So you type in there modern 1. And then click save. And then anytime that you type in modern 1, the text replacement will pop up and you can click that and it will replace modern 1 with all of those tags. So you can do that for all of your groups of tags and you don't have to go to your note and copy and paste it. You just type in modern 1 or whatever your shortcut phrase is and it will replace it. Make sure your shortcut isn't a word that you use all the time. Otherwise, it'll constantly be replacing that word with all those hashtags. So it's a really cool little shortcut there. So remember, you want to get to as close to 30 as you can, and keep it very relevant to your post. And don't use the same tags for every single post. Instagram has an algorithm just like every other social media platform, and they reward and penalize certain things. And if you use the same hashtags for every single post, they are going to realize that those aren't unique hashtags to your post. Those are just stuff that you use on every single one. So make sure that they're unique, that you switch it up. And that's why I keep like 5 to 10 different sets of hashtags that are relevant and add them to each post. And always remember to use totally unique hashtags for each post. And so the way Instagram works is if at least 10% of your followers engage with your post by either leaving a comment or a like, then they will show it to other people using those hashtags. And that's how you grow on Instagram. So say you have 1,000 followers. If at least 100 of those 1,000 like and or comment on your post, then they start using those hashtags and saying, oh, this is a relevant post. People are interested in this. Let's show this to other people that might be interested in it. And you start to gain followers that way. So hashtags are incredibly important and they're not that difficult to master. You just use those simple tips I just listed right there. All right, now we're going to talk about growing your following. And one of the coolest things about Instagram is you can grow a following from scratch, from zero, without using any of your current friends or families. You can have a completely separate Instagram comic book account and gain a following without knowing any of those people in real life. You want to start this step by beginning with the end in mind. That's a very important principle that highly successful people use all the time, is begin with the end in mind. You don't just want a ton of followers, right? You want a ton of followers that are engaged in the things that you want them to be engaged in. So if your goal is to sell comics and engage with the comic book community, you want to have followers that buy comics and are engaged in the comic book community. And so here's a perfect example of how you can do it and you can grow your followers very rapidly. Go to someone's Instagram page that is currently successful or has a lot of followers. Let's use mine, for example. If you go to my Instagram page, you click on my page and click on my followers. There's 3,500 followers. And there it shows you a list of all of the people that are following me. And what you can do is just go down this list and click on, just start going down and click on the first one, and it'll take you to that person's page. And you can see all of the posts that he's made. And you can just decide for yourself, is this somebody that I want to follow me? If they're talking about comic books or maybe funny stuff, or you think, oh, I could be friends with this guy, follow them. and then go into each one of their posts that you find interesting and like a bunch of their posts and comment on a bunch of their videos. Again, only do it if you actually like the post, and only do it if you actually have something to say about it. But this is so much awesome content. You are going to easily have something to say. Let's say you click on something and it's a comic book you love. You go, oh, I love that variant. That's good enough, you know, or wow, I've never seen that one before. Whatever. You're engaging. You're basically mingling at a party and you're trying to make new friends. And guess what? If they don't like you back, if they don't follow you back, no big deal. It doesn't even matter. It's virtual. This is all virtual. So you can take the ego and everything out of it. You're just mingling at a party and you're trying to make new friends. So you go in and then go back to my followers and go to the next one. See if that's somebody that you would want to follow you. Like a bunch of their images that you like and comment on some of their images that you have something interesting to say about. All right, and so you can get pretty systematic about doing this and kind of do it pretty quickly. I mean, your goal here is to make new friends, get new followers. So you don't want to spend a ton of time on each one. Just, you know, you just kind of quickly go through this and be systematic. And if you do it, say, I don't know, and if you're serious about this and you do it for an hour a day, by the end of the month, you could easily have 500 followers a month doing this. And remember, the point is to be genuine, to be sincere, to follow people that you actually want to engage with. There's a lot of people that use what's called a follow-unfollow method, and I do not recommend this method. That's where you just go follow a bunch of people, like a bunch of their stuff, they follow you back, and then after they follow you back, you unfollow them. And do not do this. This will come back and bite you in the butt. These are real people, and if they find out that you did this, or if you're just being spammy or you're just being weird, you're not going to do well. So the point is just remain honest, remain sincere, and you're going to do a lot better. Now, Instagram caps the number of people that you can follow. You can follow up to 7,500 people. An unlimited amount of people can follow you. You can have millions of followers, but you can only follow 7,500 people. And the reason they do this is because of the follow-unfollow method. They don't want you to go in and follow a million people just to get a bunch of followers back. So they cap it at 7,500, and you want to keep the number of people that you're following and the number of people that are following you about equal. You don't want them to be out of whack. All right. You see a lot of people that are following 7,500 people and only 1,000 people are following them. That means they're spammy. They're doing the follow-unfollow method, and they're kind of just trying to game the system, and it just looks bad. So try to keep them the same. If you're following 100 people, try to have 100 followers. You know, don't let it get too far out of balance. And when you're going and commenting and liking on people's videos, don't get spammy. Don't do every single post that they have and like every single one. You know, keep it to about 5, I'd say. Like about 5 of their posts and comment on 5 of their posts. Now, what's going to happen is they get notifications and say, so-and-so liked your photo, followed you, commented. And so they'll get a bunch of notifications in their feed that piques their interest and go, who is this person? And they go and check out your page, and likely they follow you back. So that's why it's important that you actually have some content on your page. Don't do this with nothing on your page, because they're just going to think you're a weirdo trying to get followers, and it's not going to work. Start out by posting some content on your page. All right, so one last super important tip. If your intent is to sell comics on Instagram, I would recommend that you do that method of finding new followers by finding new followers that are buying comic books. And so the way that you do this is go to successful Instagram pages, people that have claim sales, people that have comic books for sale. Click on posts where they're actually listing things for sale, and do this follow method for people that actually claimed stuff, people that actually went to claim sales and put claims in the claim sales. Follow those people, and you'll get, you know, a more engaged group of followers rather than just following anybody who's interested in comics. And also, I find that people that actually buy and sell comics are just way more engaged in the hobby, way more invested in the hobby, and just make for more engaging relationships. That takes us to our next point, which is how to sell comics on Instagram. There's a couple different ways to do this. One, you can actually make a post with the comic and put all the details on how to sell it, and people can claim it in the comments. And then what you do is you message them directly and tell them their total. They send it to you via PayPal or Zelle or Venmo, whatever the case may be, and you ship the comic to them. So again, Instagram isn't primarily a selling platform, so you got to kind of, work around it in that sense. There's no way for them to just click on one of your posts and buy it and have all the shipping and everything worked out. You're going to have to manually do all that stuff. But in so doing, you save a bunch of money on fees, and get the whole added experience of the social experience with it on Instagram. And so don't be surprised if you post something for sale and it doesn't sell right away. Even if it's a really hot book, I mean, unless you have a ton of followers, what are the odds that the right person is going to see that book? I mean, if you post something that's like a $300 or $400 book, even if it's a great price, if you don't have a lot of followers, no one's going to see it. Even if you put the right hashtags, Instagram isn't going to show it to people. People aren't really searching for hashtags on Instagram to buy books. It kind of is just like whatever comes to you on Instagram. And once you get involved in the community, you'll see that plenty of stuff comes to you that you want to buy. So it's a different selling experience. There's not a whole lot of searching going on. It's kind of just like what naturally comes to you. And so keep that in mind. And I personally haven't found listing comics individually on Instagram to be all that successful. So I don't even bother with it anymore. What I do now is live sales or claim sales. And it's one of the first things that you're going to want to do if you're new to Instagram is attend a claim sale. They're awesome. It's a really cool, fun way to buy comic books. And you'll know on your homepage up at the top, Instagram will tell you all of the people that you're following that are live. And usually if it's a comic book account, if they're live, it's because they're having a claim sale. So attend a couple claim sales, see how it works, see how it all goes down. You'll get a good feel for it. I usually do a claim sale about once a month. It's a ton of fun. Just to give you a little breakdown of how a claim sale works is you'll have a bunch of comics up on the wall like these ones are here, and I put little letters underneath them. I just used my kids' magnets from the fridge and just tape them underneath, and then you put the price on the book with a post-it note. So for example, that one in the corner, Max Alias number 1, that could be $500, and it would be A500. And so if the person wanted to claim it, they would just type in the comments, claim A500, and they have to put the letter and the price so that there's no confusion about what they're claiming. And then that person claims that item and you start a stack for them. And if they claim other stuff, you add it to their stack. Then at the end of the live sale, you total up all of their books, calculate the shipping costs, message them directly through Instagram, give them their total. They send you a payment confirmation with a screenshot of PayPal or Venmo, wherever it would be, and you send off the books. And, don't be lazy. Send out the books right away. I've seen people take like up to 2 weeks to send books. There's no reason for that. Just buckle down and do it. People spent valuable time attending your live sale and their hard-earned money to buy your books. The least you could do is ship them out right away. It's not that hard. Just buckle down and do it. And make time to do it. Set aside the day for your live sale. Set aside time the next day to just buckle down and get those shipments out. Also, a couple tips for live sales. Make sure you have all your supplies in line. Make sure you have, Sharpies and pens to write on Post-it notes. Make sure you have plenty of Post-it notes. Make sure you have plenty of space to put stacks where people's books are going to go. Play the tape through. What I'm going to do if somebody claims it? How are you going to manage writing down who that was and keeping track of all of that? Make sure you have a good internet connection, good lighting. Do a run through with a friend. And my biggest recommendation would be to have at least 2 people there at the claim sale. You could do it with just one person, but it's clunky. It's really hard to manage the chat because the chat gets going and you have to make sure you catch all the claims, and you're putting up new books for sale. It really works a lot better if you have at least 2 people there. The last point I want to talk about is buying comic books on Instagram. I love buying comic books on Instagram because you save in PayPal fees and taxes. And I've never had a problem buying comic books on Instagram. I always make sure that it's from a reputable person. If they have a lot of followers, they're very actively engaged. Maybe you get to know them a little bit first. They're not going to burn you. At least I've never been burned on Instagram to date. And I even buy a lot of big boy books from people that I don't know that well. And here's how I do that. If I'm searching for a book on eBay and I see one that I'm definitely interested in, try to find that person on Instagram. Sometimes they have the same screen name. And so you can just search for their screen name on Instagram. And if they're there, say, hey, is that your book on eBay? And they say yes, and you can work out a deal there. Or you can message the seller on eBay and say, hey, are you on Instagram? Some of them are, some of them are not. It's not always going to work. And you definitely have to do your due diligence. Make sure that their Instagram account is active, that they have a lot of followers. Often what I do in a situation like this is I ask for references. So I say, hey, do you know 2 or 3 people? Can you shoot me their Instagram handles so I can ask for a reference for you and make sure that you're like a legit person? And in so doing, it just has always worked out for me. So it's something to keep in mind. So let's say it's $1,000 book on eBay. You know, they're going to save at least $100 by selling that book outside of eBay. So what I think is fair is to split the savings. All right. So let's say it's $1,000 book, $100 savings brings it down to $900, but you split that, say, hey, would you be willing to take $950 if we do it outside of eBay? You shouldn't get the whole savings and they shouldn't get the whole savings. And a lot of times it's hard for them to understand selling that book for $950, right? If it's like, it's $1,000 book, it's worth every penny of $1,000. Why would I ever sell it for $950? Well, explain to them, you're going to pay a bunch of fees. You're actually making more money by selling it to me for $950 outside of eBay. So sometimes, you know, it takes a little bit of mind bending to wrap your head around it, especially when it gets up into the higher dollar amounts and you really factor in those fees. So that's it. That's the nuts and bolts of how to buy, sell, and share your comics on Instagram. I'll leave notes down in the description detailing all of that so you can have it for reference. If you do decide to go over to Instagram, make sure that you follow me over there. And don't forget to head over to brycecomics.com, sign up for the newsletter, and you're entered to win a free slab each and every month. And as always, thank you so much for sticking with me to the end of the video, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.
Bryce Comics.